Welcome to this class on surrender and release. Make yourself comfortable and find a comfortable way to sit. If you're unable to sit comfortably in cross-legged position, you can also sit on a chair or use a bolster. If you are sitting cross-legged, maybe take a half block or 2 half blocks or a full block to sit a little higher so that your knees can be lower than your hips, and that opens up the hip flexor. And then once you are seated in any way that is comfortable for you, with any props that you need, take the flesh away from the sitting bones, bring your sitting bones back, and just soften down to the ground. And then bring your awareness to your breath. Your body is like a flower, and from the waist down are your roots. You release and give to gravity. From the waist up, you grow upwards towards the light. So see if you can bring that image into your awareness, into your body. And as you breathe out, you give to gravity, you soften to earth. As you inhale, you grow upwards along your spine. Take the head slightly back, shifting the back of the head upwards, softening the shoulders to the ground. Release the jaws, soften the eyes. And just allowing that breath to flow gently, softly, delicately. Inhale, release, surrender, breathe out. Inhale, release, surrender, breathe out. And take a moment to scan your body, seeing how your body feels right now. Scan your mind. What is your mind busy with right now? Is it focused on the breath? Or is the mind present, alert and awake? And that is where we need to differentiate. The mind that surrenders is not resigned. A body that surrenders is not collapsed. But there is an alert, an awakeness, an aliveness in the body and in the mind. Becoming aware of every nuance of anything that is happening in your physical sensations, in what is arising in the mind, and also what is arising in the emotions. Receiving that breath with gratitude, allowing it to expand into the body and relaxing down towards the ground. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pasyantu Ma Kashti Dukhabhak Bhavet Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now take your hands to your heart. Either the hands, the palms on the heart space, or palm to palm. And then let your elbows release to gravity, shoulders letting go to gravity, but an uprightness in the front of the body, lifting the rib cage, lifting the solar plexus, imagining there is a stream going up at the front, down at the back. And just receiving that stream with your breath on the inhale, releasing, surrender, down, softening to earth on the out breath. Whatever is rising, allowing it to be there, but just gently breathing through it. And we shall do 3 ohms together in that rhythm. So you feel that inhale, and on the out breath, allowing the om to soften into earth like a waterfall. And once the waterfall hits the ground, like roots going even deeper down. So deep inhale, and then in your own rhythm. We start together and then in your own rhythm. So take a deep inhale. Be alert and awake to where you hear and feel that sound in your body, how it changes from the ah to the to the m. And then listen for the resonance after the sound has faded in your awareness and in your body. So now let your hands drop. Gently release your legs. And stretching your legs out in front of you, releasing from the hips. If you are sat on a half block, keep that half block or full block behind you as you're doing this. And moving from the hips, releasing, hydrating the tissue, hydrating the hip joint. It's our hip suspension. And then moving with the feet, circling inwards. Let the toes become part of this, spreading the toes as you're doing this. Moving in, moving out, shaking the feet a little. And then, as you are sitting on your blocks already, take your legs out to the side as far as is comfortable for you. And again, take the flesh away from the sitting bones. And here it is really important that you go with what feels right for you. So it doesn't matter if the legs are here, or if the legs are here, or if the legs are out all the way to the side. What matters is that you find for yourself the intensity that you are able to relax into. So if I go all the way out here and my breath gets really tight, then that is not really allowing you to release. That is you going into a fighting mode. That is you going into an achieving mode. So we soften a little and go away from the achieving mind and more to the kind, gentle, undoing state of mind. Undoing the tension, outdoing the need, undoing the need to achieve and be something that we are not at this point in time. So taking the legs to the place where it is your comfort zone. I would say an intensity of about 6 out of 10 perhaps. And be playful with that. You can take your time to find the position that is right for you. If being here is uncomfortable in your knees at all, then take something, put something under your knees. You can take a small bolster or a rolled up blanket and put that underneath. And then from here, lifting the front of the body again. If you find that your lower back is getting round, then you need to sit a little higher. Bring something else in that you can sit onto. So I have here got 2 half blocks, but you can sit a little higher if it's needed. Prop yourself high enough so that you can sit in a way that your spine is effortlessly upright. Often it is a tightness in the hip flexor and in the hamstrings that is gripping and not allowing us to go into that effortless straight spine position. So if you take that seat a little higher, then you're able to free the spine. I am getting a little concert. It's raining today, so I'm getting a little concert of drips. Nature is talking to us. So I'm going to receive them into the singing bowl today, because we just have to surrender to whatever is happening. So now take your arms up. Inhale, extending the arms, but relax the shoulders. Lift the front of the body. Breathe in deeply. Exhale, release, twist to one side, but remaining as much as possible in your uprightness. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, and allow your fingertips to be alive as you're doing this. So from the fingertips, you are pulled upwards as if you had strings on your fingertips. You're being lifted upwards, but you relax your hips into the ground, soften your legs into the ground. As you breathe out, release. Inhale, receive, breathe out, release. If the movement up came from your fingertips and you had little puppeteers beyond your hands doing those movements for you, but at the same time you had a puppeteer on the top of your head that is continuously keeping your head lifted so you're not collapsing into your spine. And then rest here for a moment and just listen, see what has happened, see how the sensation is on the inner thighs now. And perhaps it is no longer a 5 or 6 out of 10 sensation. Perhaps it has become more intense, perhaps it has become less intense. It could go either way. So most of the time it releases a little. So then take the leg a little further to the back so that you find that 6 out of 10 sensation again. Find the uprightness of your spine again. And then take your arms to the side. Extend the fingertips into the periphery. Relax the shoulders. And then imagine again those puppeteers gently lifting your arms up so that the arms are in one line with the body. And then the arms come back behind the body and coming back out again. going into the periphery, into the side, and then coming behind the body at the lower end. Inhale. And feel that movement happening, opening up your shoulders, opening up your chest, smiling from collarbone to collarbone. Releasing every time you breathe out, letting go. Last one. Open, turn, and come down, and take another moment to rest. I will catch those raindrops. Just soften your shoulders, soften the legs to the ground. If you wish, you can be playful with your toes, with your ankles. And then release the legs. Do whatever you need to do for a moment. And then let's lie on our back. By the way, before you lie down on the back, it would be good to have... Oh, I had a little sound in the singing bowl now from the drops. Take either one of these Coke blocks if you have one. Sometimes they are made out of foam, or a rolled up blanket. If you have a rolled up a blanket near you, then this is the way to roll it up so that we have the right height. So you roll it up really tightly and roughly this height, so you can see it here. That is what we need. If it's bigger than that, it might be just a little too intense. So you can have a rolled up blanket or a half block. But for now, we will not need it. All you need is a folded blanket behind your head or a half block, and just lay on your back for a moment. Stretch your legs out. And just feel your connection to the ground. Breathing, inhale, releasing, out breath. Noticing your connection to the ground. Where are you connected? And where is your body holding? And where is there space between you and the ground? And then stand your feet on the ground, bending your knees, and take your right leg up so that the knee is pointing to the side. And then come from one side to the other with this movement, taking the arms to the side and feeling what sensations are there in your spine, in your hips. Just allowing that movement to go from one side gently to the other side. Feeling your body opening, feeling your body releasing. Softening into this. Allowing your awareness to be really strong inside your body, really feeling even the most minute sensation. And the intention, releasing with every out breath, receiving the in breath, receiving this moment, and releasing what is no longer needed. And then at some point, allow that right foot to drop down to the ground and the knee pointing up. And then check, are you feeling any sensation anywhere in your body? If you are not feeling any sensation, then take the legs a little higher like this. This is a hip flexor stretch, a upper hip flexor stretch, and for some of us it's tight, for some of us it's not that tight. So take the legs to where you start feeling a 5 or 6 out of 10 sensation. If it is too intense, you do exactly the opposite and take it a little further away from you. So adjust according to your needs. You can take a moment to be playful with this, and then stretch your arms out to the side, moving your head a little from one side to the other. Allowing your right foot to really sink into the ground, soften into the ground. If for some reason, by the way, you can't get your foot to connect on the ground, you can put it on a bolster or on a block or something. Just lift it a little higher to wherever it is comfortable for you, comfortable enough to breathe deeply. Use your breath as your gauge. If your breath becomes tight, then you backtrack a little. You have maybe taken it a little too far. And adjust in a way that you can be comfortable with it. Because only when you are comfortable and your breath is relaxed, that is when the body can start releasing. That is when the body relaxes with you. That is when the body trusts you to look after it and trusts you not to force it into something that isn't suited. And then gently coming back, undoing, stretching the legs out, and see what has changed. Yoga happens in the spaces in between. Bring your awareness into your body and really listen. What sensations are there in your feet, in your legs, in your hips, in your spine, in your arms, in your hands? Noticing even the smallest sensation. Becoming really still inside. Alert, awake, yet still. And if any emotions arise or if your mind is busy, just become aware of the emotions that are arising and the thoughts, but continue breathing deeply. Inhale, surrendered, releasing out breath. And then bend your legs again, softening the feet into the ground, playing with the toes a little to bring spaciousness between the toes and the ball of the foot. And then take your left leg up and do the same thing that we did before on the other side, going from one side to the other. And approach it gently. So first smaller movement, seeing how that feels, where you can feel it, then bigger movements, gradually and gently. And then at some point, when that feels right for you, you can lower that left foot down to the ground with the knee pointing up. And again, if it's too intense in this position, you take it a little lower like this, so that the knee points away from your head,
So find the right position, gently find the position, be playful, go a little lower, go a little higher until you find the sensation that is just right, about 5 or 6 out of 10. So where you feel a sensation but your breath can still be relaxed. And if it's not intense enough, you take it a little higher. Ideally, you should feel this about there in the upper part of the hip flexor. So it's just where the rib cage ends at the back, in that area. But for some people, they might feel it more in the legs. Wherever you are tighter, you might feel it first. So if you feel it in the legs and in the hips, breathe into that area until that releases. And then pay attention. At some point, it might be releasing in the legs, and then you start feeling it there. Maybe it was always there and you just didn't feel it. So make your awareness really alive, of really feeling what sensation is present now, where in my body. With that breath, inhale, releasing, softening, out breath. And then come back to the middle, undo, stretch the legs out. What has changed? Taking a moment to become really alert to your senses. Sinking into your body. So now, bend your legs, and we go into the very same position that we were in earlier. So you take the right foot, the right ankle on top of the right knee, but this time you take the left thigh towards you, so that the knee is pointing sideways. Perhaps, if that feels okay for you, you can slightly push against the right knee, just very gently pushing against the right knee. And then grabbing hold of the left thigh and pulling that towards you. For some people it is hard to actually hold the left thigh like this. Then there are two solutions. You can either take a block or a book or a bolster and put that under your foot so that you are in this position passively, or you can take a scarf and wrap that scarf around your left thigh and holding on to the thigh. Whatever you do, what is important is that you are able to relax your shoulders. So wrap your arms or the scarf around and then just let the shoulders drop down to the ground so that there is no effort in the arms of holding that leg towards you. And then again, inhale, soft releasing out breath. And if you wish, you can be playful with the leg you are holding. You can move that sideways leg a little towards you, a little away from you. Be playful, explore, see what changes in your breath, see what changes in the sensation. And find the sensation that is just right for you. You are your body's best teacher. Tune in to the intelligence of your body to find the pose that is just right for you. And if at some point the body says, here, it is nice here, I want to soften into this, I want to release into this, that is where you stay. Whether that means the leg is bent or the leg is straight. Just find your space of comfort, your space of release, your spaciousness. Sometimes the body just finds the right position and it just drops by itself. It's the moment Vanda Scaravelli used to call the wave. When the wave comes and the body just opens, the body just softens. And then you change that around, take the other leg, grab hold of the thigh with the scarf or putting something under the foot that you can rest your foot on. Make it comfortable for you. Treat yourself. If you need to, push that leg slightly away. So pushing the leg that is pointing sideways away from you and pulling the thigh that you are holding towards you, and then soften the shoulders. And again, if your body invites you to be playful, go with it. What changes in the different positions of the pose? You can take it down to slow motion, really becoming aware of every little nuance of change. And sometimes just a tiny, minute adjustment drops you into this softening, into this opening, into this wave of release. And that wave of release, when you find it, it is quite blissful. And that is what we are after. Finding bliss. Finding openness. Dropping into release. And then let go of that. Stretch your legs out and see what has changed. How is your relationship to gravity now? How is your body surrendering to earth? Where are you able to release to the ground? Where are you perhaps still holding back? And if you identify any areas where you are still holding on, where you are still in a attitude of control, just become aware of that. Listen to those areas. And now the time has come for our hip flexor stretch. So for that, you will need either the rolled blanket or the cork block, or even a book will do. So actually I will demonstrate it with the rolled up blanket. So you will take the rolled up blanket and put it between the waist and the sitting bones, not behind the waist, between the waist and the sitting bones. And you will lie down on that. And then if that is okay for you, you can extend the legs. If that is initially quite uncomfortable, you can keep the legs bent and just allow your weight to drop into that rolled up blanket. Also a pranayama bolster, if you have one, would also work. And just letting the weight sink down into the ground. Listening out for what sensations reveal themselves. And then taking one leg towards you. And if that is now possible for you, if you couldn't stretch that leg out a moment ago, see if it's possible for you now with that leg bent towards you. And now you should feel a stretch on the hip flexor. If your support here is quite low, then you might not feel it so much. So the higher this is now, the more you will be feeling it in your hip flexor. And then start doing tiny movements, tiny adjustments, seeing how the movement of the leg you are holding changes the sensation. And you can also do little movements with the straight leg. Maybe start slightly rolling out and in, seeing how that changes the sensation. And then find the position that is right for you. At some point, the body just drops into the silence, into the stillness. And then maybe you can stretch and bend that leg. And it doesn't matter again how far you stretch that leg. Just go to where you feel a sensation that is comfortable for you. And if you find that sensation, just gently breathing into it and releasing again. Just waking up those fibers. And if you find yourself in a position where you feel, I really want to feel that now, then just go there. You can also use a belt or a scarf for this if that is more comfortable for you. But in this position, most people can take that leg towards them when the knee is bent. So you only need to stretch that leg as far as it will go without that thigh moving. So if that is here, that is fine. And if your mind is starting to become competitive with you, listen to that. Become aware of that. But don't necessarily give in to it. Just say, no, we're working slowly now. We're taking our time. We're listening to the body. We want to get to know this body. And then let go of that. Either place the legs back on the ground like this, or stretch the legs out on the ground and see how you feel. See what has changed, comparing the left side to the right side. And then take the other leg towards you. First hugging that leg towards you, allowing your hips to sink into the ground. Inhale, releasing out breath, softening to earth. Stretch that other leg if that is okay for your back. Maybe releasing a little with that leg. Releasing, giving a little bit of softening to the hip flexor. Now we are working on the lower aspect of the hip flexor. Earlier we were working on the higher aspect. And then circling inwards with that leg that you are holding on to. Circling inwards, circling outwards. Bringing release to the hips, listening. And all the way through whilst you're listening, inhale, surrender, release, out breath. Inhale, softly, gently, receiving the breath, softly releasing into the ground. And then extending and bending that leg you are holding. And as you can see, Where my thigh is, I only take that leg up as high as it can go without that leg going away from me. If the leg goes further away from you than a 90-degree angle, then it will start pulling on the leg, and we don't really want to go to where it pulls on the back. We want to soften the back into the ground through the support of the thighs, and then do that movement as far as it will go naturally without that upper thigh moving. And again, you can do this as slowly as you can. Do it even slower and listen. How does the sensation change when I move in slow motion? Experiment. Be playful. You might even turn the foot slightly out or in and see how that changes the sensation. And when I say turn the foot, I mean turn from the hips. So it is an outward twisting of the thigh bone or inward twisting as you're doing this, rather than twisting from the knee. And at some point, if it feels like you want to just keep the legs still in one position, just stay there for a moment. Breathe deeply. Inhale. Soften to the ground, out breath. Inhale. And release. And as you scan your body, if you're holding on anywhere, also check your jaws, check your eyes. Are your eyes soft? Is your forehead relaxed? Are your jaws relaxed? Are your shoulders relaxed? Your hips, your feet. And then let go of that. Take the block or rolled up blanket away, stretch the legs out, and just feel for a moment. You can stretch the arms out to the side. Notice what you notice. Receiving the inhale. Softening, releasing, surrender with the out breath. Inhale and soften with the out breath. Okay, now roll onto your side. I'm going to take this mat slightly back. And then lay on your front. Take your hands underneath your forehead. So taking the hands underneath the forehead, relax the elbows to the ground, soften the hips to the ground, and just take a moment to sink down, to give your weight to gravity. And then lift one leg at a time. Lift, for instance, the right leg now. Stretch that toe away from you. Stretch the feet away, the foot of the right leg away from you. And then with the lengthened leg, place it back down to the ground. And then do the same with the other leg. Lift the left leg. Stretch the left foot away from you. Make it really, really long and place it back down. Do this several times with both legs, until you have really found an openness in your hips. And then once that front of the hip is really open, come onto your elbows, pull the belly in and up, open the front of the body. So here, pulling the elbows towards you and using the pull of the elbows towards you as a lever to lift the front of the body a little further away.
Relax the legs and hips into the ground. Soften the shoulders down. Soften the hands to the ground. Soften the jaws, the eyes. Inhale. Release. Breathe out. And feel that gentle back bend in your body. If that is too high, don't come that high. Go a little lower. So go as far up as is comfortable for you, where your breath is still relaxed. But make sure that you are not sinking into your shoulders. Make sure that the front of the body remains open wherever you find it is right for you to go. If back bends are contraindicated for you for some reason, please go into child pose now. And then lift your right foot up and then look over your left shoulder to your right foot. And make sure as you are turning your head to look over your left shoulder that your head is in alignment with the spine. And see if you can get a glimpse of your right foot as you look over your shoulder. And then change, go to the other side. Again, before you change, relax the shoulders down, long neck, ears away from the shoulders, then lifting the left foot up, looking over the right shoulder, and see if you can get a glimpse of your left foot whilst remaining in alignment with your spine, with your head. Let go of that. Come back onto your hands. Soften to the ground. See what has changed. Soften the hips. Soften the rib cage. Soften the arms. Soften the legs. And we are now going to go into a sequence of upward dog and downward dog. Again, if that is not right for you, then you go into a sequence between child pose and downward dog. If you're doing child pose, downward dog, you can do so like this. So here, child pose, and then tucking under the toes and coming up into downward dog. And you can change in between those two poses. If you are able to do upward dog, then lie on your front, tuck the toes under, take your hands next to your chest, shoulders away from the ears, and then slide your hands just a little lower. So a little further from the chest, a little further towards the hips, so that they are kind of aligning with your with the lower part of your rib cage. And then really release the shoulders away from the ears. Bring the head into alignment with your spine. Tuck your chin in. Pull your belly in and up. Engage your pelvic floor. Pull your belly in and up. Deep inhale. And on the out breath, come up into upward dog. Let the hands soften. Keep pulling the belly in and up, shoulders away from the ears, opening the front of the body. Breathe deeply. Deep inhale. Releasing the hips. Breathe out. Keep pulling the belly, the navel in and up to support your lower spine. Stay here only as long as is comfortable for you. And then slowly lower back down. And then come into upward dog. If you need to rest your hands in between or shake your hands out, please do. Once you are in downward dog, make sure you bend your knees enough so that your spine can be straight. So lift your sitting bones as high as you possibly can. Let your head dangle down. Soften your hands into the ground. Give your heels to gravity. And check on yourself that you are not with your weight, with your shoulders on top of your hands like this.
So you need to take the sitting bones back and make sure you're not in a round back. If your back is rounded, then often you need to bend the knees slightly more so that you can find that straight position, and then pushing away from your hands towards the sitting bones to find that triangle. So you want to have your one line from the wrists all the way to the sitting bones. And if the knees still have to be bent, that is absolutely fine. You can be playful with the bend of the knee whilst the spine stays straight. Breathe deeply, relax your head, let your head dangle, saying yes, 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 no, no, no. Shaking a little to release the neck. Smile from collarbone to collarbone. Breathe deeply. Inhale. Soften, breathing out. And then come back. Come onto the knees. Sitting on the heels. Take a moment here in Thunderbolt pose. If you can't sit easily in Thunderbolt pose, then you can take again this rolled up blanket or a block or something in between the feet and the hips. Or if it is hard on the back of your feet, you can do exactly the opposite and take the rolled up blanket underneath your feet. So make it comfortable for you so that you can sit comfortably in this position. Take a moment here. And we are going to go into camel pose now. Camel pose, you take your hips above your knees. And when we go into camel pose, it is really important that we don't start leaning back like this to compensate for lack of flexibility in the spine. So from the knees all the way to the lower where the rib cage starts, we remain in one line. If you need to, you might take a bolster, perhaps a little bigger than this rolled up blanket, here on top of the feet, and we reach for that. And we're going to go for half camel today. So pull the belly in and up, relax the shoulders. If you are unable to go into back bends for whichever reason, then this position is just about lengthening your spine upwards and don't go into the back bend part. So just lengthening up, imagining you have a thread on the crown that is lifting you up, and the rest of the body just releasing down to the ground through the shoulders. If you want to go into the half camel pose, pull the belly in and up, relax the shoulders. Take your right arm forward like this, imagining you have threads on your fingertips, and this allows you to keep the front of the body here up to there, up to where the rib cage parts, upright. And then you can take your other hand back, either onto that bolster or onto your feet. So only go as far as you can go where you can see the hip is still above the knees. Deep inhale, release, exhale, and feel that thread on the crown, lengthening your spine, bringing openness to your spine, breathing out through the legs, breathing out through the hip. Inhale, exhale, and then come back and do the same to the other side, stretching out the arm, feeling threads on those fingertips, lifting up the front of the body, pull the belly in and up to support your spine. Bring the hand to where it is comfortable for you. And if you feel that is really easy for you and your body is just yearning to go into the full camel pose, then you can grab hold of your feet with your hands
and just lengthen towards the crown. Keep the hips above the knees. Open the front of the body, breathing into the heart. And slowly release. Sit back on your heels. Take a moment here, feeling what has changed. Feeling your shoulders, feeling your spine, feeling whatever is there to be felt in physical sensation, also going into the mind, into the emotions. What has come up for you? What has opened up? And then it is time for the chair. I have said in the description that we will need a chair today. So if you have not got a chair, then you can do a twisting pose on the ground, maybe lying on your back and taking your knees to the side. If you have prepared a chair, then sit with the back of the chair towards me, so towards the screen, and sit in a way that only the buttocks is on the ground. And if you have it available, you can take one of these blocks or a big book between your knees. You don't have to. That is just to make sure that the knees don't come towards each other like this and bring the hip into an uncomfortable position. So you can take anything to put in between. It can even be a small ball. And then soften your feet towards the ground. And just feel into that for a moment. You don't need to look. You just soften your feet towards the ground. Soften your shoulders. Find the uprightness of your spine. If you need to adjust your sitting bones, take the flesh away from the sitting bones. Lengthening towards the crown, bringing spaciousness into each and every vertebra. It might be that you need to do some small movements, adjustments in your spine to find that openness, to find that length. The invitation is to be playful, but breathe. Deep inhale, releasing out breath. And then from that alert, elongated spine, start twisting towards the backrest. And do this twisting action really slowly, keeping the alignment of the spine. Very slowly, coming towards the backrest of your chair. And if you feel you have lost alignment, backtrack a little, come back out, check. Bring yourself back into alignment. Bring the spine so that it is back on top of itself. So practicing in your own alignment of the spine as much as you can. And to increase the twist a little, if that is needed for you, if your breath is still relaxed and if you don't feel any stretch yet or not enough intensity, then you pull the hand that is on the side of the legs towards you and you push the far hand away from you. And then you can take a moment to be playful with the head, looking one way and the other way, bringing openness to the upper spine. Relax the shoulders down, soften the shoulders down. And the trick is to keep breathing. And at some point you feel your body is just yearning to come into stillness. Then follow your body's intuition and stay there. Take a moment, pull the belly in and up to give more length to the spine. Relax the shoulders. Open the front of the body, smile from collarbone to collarbone. See if there is any tension held in the body. Are your feet softening to earth? How about your shoulders, your jaws, your eyes? Slowly, gently release. Feel into that. See what has changed. And then come to the other side. Same thing again. The ankles underneath the knees. If you have something between the thighs, to make sure you keep your legs in alignment, please put it there. Take a moment to find the length of the spine, relaxing the shoulders down, lengthen the crown. Imagining the tail of a magpie going through your spine. So that length, that lightness going through your spine. Or a branch growing upwards to the heavens. And then pulling the belly in and up, pulling the navel in and up, slowly rotate your spine, taking it one little bit at a time, enjoying the journey, breathing deeply as you go into the twist, checking and rechecking. Going in, maybe going back out again, checking, is my spine aligned? Because when the spine is aligned, that is when the energy can flow. And you can sometimes feel just a tiny micro adjustment in the movement makes that flow happen. Relax the shoulders, soften the eyes, soften the jaws. Pulling with the hand that is nearer the legs, nearer the knees, and pushing with the backhand if you need to go further into that twist. Keep pulling the navel in and up. Breathe. Releasing, softening out breath. Surrendering into the out breath whilst retaining the uprightness. And then bringing openness to the upper part of the spine. Moving your head one way and the other. Tuning in, feeling what changes when you look to one shoulder and then the other. And at some point, you might want to just rest over one of the shoulders. Maybe you want to look back, maybe you want to look forward. Find the position that is right for you. Soften the effort. Breathing deeply. Okay. We are going to use the chair for our next balancing posture. We're going to do Ardha Chandrasana or moon pose, half moon pose. So step towards your chair like this. And just soften into your feet. So you have about a leg's length between you and the chair. Like this. And then take a moment to just soften and root into your feet. Soften into your shoulders. Feel your uprightness. If your spine wants to do any movements to release from the twist that you were just in, you can move your hips, you can move your spine, and then find your inner stillness. And then I want you to take your hands onto that chair like this. Lift the sitting bones. And then bring your back elbow
onto the ground. So the elbow that is further from the screen right now, you bring that to your chair. And then take the leg that is nearer the screen right now up to the side. Find your alignment, adjust the chair's position so that this feels right for you. And then take the other arm and go up and down. So for me, I have my right leg up, my left foot on the ground, my left arm is on the chair, and the right arm is going up and down. So the classic position of Ardha Chandrasana is without the chair, with the hand on the ground. So you could try that, balance yourself with your other hand. So the left hand on the ground and the right hand on the chair, just to give you a little bit of lift. You could try that. But what we're doing right now is going for the easy position, where you just have the left hand, the left elbow on the chair, and then you take the other arm up like this. Feel that you have threads on your fingertips of the upper arm, lifting you up, lengthening you upwards. Soften the standing foot into the ground. And then release and stand again. Take the chair onto the other side. Take a moment to just stand in front of the chair. Soften into your feet. Root down through your feet. And then come down towards the chair. Feet are about hip width apart. And this time, the right foot is the one that is going to take the weight. So take the right foot to point exactly in between the front chair legs. And then take the right elbow also onto the middle of the chair. Adjust yourself so that your hips are exactly above the ankles, and then lift the other leg, so your left leg up. So the leg that is furthest from the screen is on the ground. The arm that is furthest from the screen is on the chair, and the other arm goes up and down for a moment, bringing a bit of openness to the shoulders. Whoops. Remember, if you want to go for the full Chandrasana, then you take the right hand to the ground, and you can use your left hand to give you a bit of lift, or the left hand going up to the ceiling. But you don't have to do that. I today am not rightly balanced in this one, so I'm not going to just about. I'm going to go for the easy version because I'm going to be gentle on myself. Stretching upwards, feeling threads on your fingertips, lengthening up through the fingertips, feeling a thread going through the crown, from the crown all the way to the hips, to the heels. Softening the standing foot into the ground. And slowly releasing. Put the chair away. We will not need that anymore. And relax into your feet. Now, take your legs apart. We're running swiftly out of time. I wanted to do a warrior position with you.
two actually. So tuck your right foot in, and your left foot goes half out, half in, and then check that your heel is aligned with the arch of the back foot. Take a moment to adjust yourself in this, alert your feet, play with your feet, spread your feet on the ground, soften your feet to the ground. Make sure that you keep your hips in alignment, extending the arms into the space so that your arms are on shoulder level, and feel that you have threads on the edges of your fingertips. Put your weight through into that back leg, and then without any weight on the front leg, as much as possible, pushing the weight through the roots into the back leg. Bend the left knee towards the middle toes. Find your alignment here. Bring the thigh as close as possible for you to a parallel position to the ground. Make sure the knee is pointing towards the middle toes. And then stretch the back arm down towards the ground and the left arm up. So if you have the left leg here to the front, then your left arm is going up, or vice versa. Feeling threads going through your fingertips, you are now in peaceful warrior. Keep the front of the body open. And then come down to the ground with your hands. So here you can use blocks to help yourself. I am going to turn myself around just so you can see it better in a moment. You can, by the way, also use your chair to help you for the next one. So what I would like you to do, I have just turned around. You don't need to turn anything. You stay where you are. You take the thigh that is here and twist it inwards. Twist it so that you can take the opposite arm round. So twisting in and bring that arm round, and do that about 3 times. And then bring, if you can, the top hand on top of the lower arm. You can also do this by taking the hand on the ground, or taking the hand on the inside of the foot if it is too hard to bring round, or if you are using a chair, you can actually just take your arm onto the chair like this. And breathe. Pull the belly in and up, lengthen the spine. And look up if you can. Finding equanimity even in this. And slowly release. And then we'll go to the other side. I will already put the chair there for demonstration purposes. Come into a wide stance, align the front of your feet. Relax the shoulders, soften the knees. Tuck the left foot in, and the right foot goes half out, half in. Spreading the toes, being playful with the toes, checking that the heel is aligned with the middle of the back foot. Take the arms to the side, rest them on invisible support, and extend the fingertips to the periphery as if you had threads, feeling threads going out into space. Engage the pelvic floor, put your weight through the back leg, and start bending the right knee towards the middle toes. And make your feet nice and alert. Notice any gripping in the toes, in the feet, and soften into the ground. Inhale, release. Inhale, release. And keep your body as much as you can on top of itself. So notice if there's any leaning beyond you. So stay on top of yourself here. Engage your pelvic floor. Pull your belly in and up. Soften with your feet into the ground, and then come into the peaceful warrior, extending one hand up, the other hand, the back hand down. And then slowly coming down. You can release that back foot slightly if that is needed, or bring the foot a little further out. And again, I will turn around so that I am facing you when I do this. So it's the very same position. And you take the hand that is on the same side as the leg that is pointing forward, twisting inwards to bring your elbow round, twisting inwards to bring your elbow round, twisting inwards to bring your elbow round. So you are revolving within this warrior posture. And then take one hand on top of the other. If you need the help of the chair, please just lean here on the chair. If that is better for you, you can also just soften that foot down to the ground and do the same thing like this. It's another easier version for you, if needed. Or take a block on the ground that you can take your hands on. And if you wish, you can look up. Breathe deeply. Soften into your front. And relax. Then shake that leg out. If you have followed me this far, then you have worked very hard today. It is time to relax. It is time to breathe. So find whichever position you want to relax in, either lying on your back or sitting. And if you are lying on your back, then you can put a bolster underneath your knees with your knees pointing outwards in this way. So with a bolster like this. Take a half block or a cushion underneath your head, or you can stretch your legs out without the bolster into a full corpse pose. Use a blanket, take an eye cushion, do whatever you need to do to be comfortable. Once you are lying on the ground, you can close your eyes, take the shoulders away from the ears. Breathe deeply. Allow your shoulders to relax and soften. And just go inside, scanning your body, becoming aware of your body. Receiving your in-breath, releasing your out-breath. Receiving the in-breath into the whole body, allowing the breath to expand into your body. Letting go, softening to earth. Allowing yourself to undo any holding that is still present. Feeling into it, breathing into it. Allowing the eyes to soften, allowing the jaws to let go. Allowing the shoulders and arms to release their weight to the support of the earth. Letting the spine go, letting the hips go. Softening down, receiving the in-breath. Surrender into the out-breath. Allowing the legs to let go. softening into earth, receiving the in-breath, releasing the out-breath. And become aware of everything that you are hearing right now through this recording, any sounds in your room that you are in, any sounds beyond this room, and just allowing the orchestra of presence to unfold into you as you gently inhale, exhale, receiving the in-breath into your whole being, breathing out, softening into earth. Inhale, release, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. If you wish to lie there a little longer, please do. If you wish to come out, start doing gentle movements with your body and gently opening your eyes, bringing your awareness back into this time and space. With gratitude. With blessings and love.